if you're joining us on Zoom or if you're joining us on the live stream. Maybe we'll just start singing while people come in. Do join us in singing Hine Matov.
Hine Matov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov, shevet achim gam yachad.
How good and how pleasant it is when siblings dwell together. How wonderful it is for us to be able to travel this Shabbat. Not just to travel to visit our sanctuary here in Northwood in England, but to travel all the way to South Africa, to Johannesburg, to be together with Temple Israel Hillbrow for this Shabbat evening, and to be joined by so many from around the world, either by Zoom or if you're watching online. We do still have a bit of space in our Zoom room, so if you do want to join on Zoom, if you have the link, then do feel free to come in on Zoom. And now it's my pleasure to hand over to Riva Foreman of Temple Israel Hillbrow to tell us a little bit about Temple Israel and to give us a warm introduction to Shabbat.
Thank you. Thank you, Leah, so much. First of all, may I say, before I introduce Temple Israel Hillbrow, which I think every South African watching, particularly those in the UK, know about this. But what a great, great honor it is for us to have yourself and Rabbi Aaron with us tonight. It is quite amazing that in every great adversity, they say that Hashem has prepared something unique, something of a greater advantage, something beautiful. And Hashem certainly prepared in this great adversity the pleasure that we have to join you, your Rabbi Aaron, and all the wonderful South Africans. And it's just such a unique feeling. So thank you again for doing us this honor. And Temple Israel Hillbrow, as you know, is the Mother Synagogue of Progressive Judaism, founded in 1936. So who's a mathematician? 1936 to 2020? How many years? More than what, 36, 84 years or more? And here we are, Jews internationally connected by our love of Torah, our love of Hashem, and our love of each other and our nation, and of course, our biblical and spiritual homeland, Israel. So it is with great pride and great joy that I can host both Rabbi Leah and Rabbi Aaron and all the wonderful South Africans and any other Jewish nationality I hope will be with us tonight, because what could be more joyous than in this adversity to be able to have you with me, with each one of us together in front of Hashem and going into a Shabbat service. So just to say to all the South Africans in the UK and anywhere, from us South Africans here in Temple Israel, I think quite a few, Joburg and some other cities have joined us. Thank you. Shabbat Shalom, and over to our beautiful rabbi and our handsome rabbi.
I'm not sure which one is the beautiful one or which one is the handsome one.
I won't say.
But one of us is going to light the candles, and that's Rabbi Aaron.
And just to note as well that I've already seen that we've got people from Dublin, Ireland joining us as well, from Israel, Shalom Dekel, absolutely amazing, as well as locals both to Johannesburg and also to here in Northwood as well. So if you have candles at home and want to light them along with me, then please do so. We say together, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Shabbat shalom to you all.
Shabbat Shalom. If you are wondering what the numbers on the screen are, then the little number on the right-hand side gives you the page number in the Siddur that the South African community uses, Mishkan Tefillah. The numbers on the left-hand side give you the page numbers in Siddur Lev Chadash, which is the Siddur that we normally use. So hopefully it will mean that all of you will be able to use, if you prefer your hard copy, you'll be able to use your hard copy for the service.
Talk about inclusivity.
Chadoti likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lechadoti likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi likra kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamo v'zacho b'dibur echad, ishmi'anu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad, u'shemo echad. L'shemo tiferet v'litila. Lecha dodi likra kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likra kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelecha, ki makor haberacha, merosh mikedem nesucha. Sof ma'aseh b'machshavat tchila. Lecha dodi dodi, lecha dodi likra kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likra kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Hitorari, ki ba'orech uri uri, shidaberi. Kevod Adonai ala נגלה. לך דודי, לך דודי לקרא כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקרא כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. בואי בשלום העטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי, לך דודי לקרא כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקרא כלה, בני שבת נקבלה.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch. Boechem LaShalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. HaKadosh Baruch. Bachuni LaShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch. Zeitrem LaShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch.
You may want to join us in rising for the Baruch Hu.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
This is an hour of change. Within it we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim.
Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Amcha ahavta. Torah u'mitzvot, Ukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta, Otanu limadeta. Akein Adonai Eloheinu b'shofenu, Kumenu nasiach b'chukecha, v'nismach v'divrei ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו, באורך ימינו, ובהם נגי יומם ולילה, נגי יומם ולילה. באחוותך אל תעזור, ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל, אוהב עמו ישראל. Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed. Shema Shem Kavod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, the promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there, except by joining hands, marching together.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדע בקודש נורא, תהילות אוסף אלה, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
ונאמר, כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
השכיבנו אדוני, אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני, אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים.
And together, grant, O God, that we lie down in peace, and raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel. For your name's sake, be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and coming, to life and to peace, evermore. Baruch atah Adonai, haporeh sukat shalom aleinu, ועל כל עמו ישראל, ועל ירושלים.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש. Adonai Sabatai Tiftach Ufi Agitehilatecha. Adonai Sabatai Tiftach Ufi Agitehilatecha. Eternal God, open up my lips, that my mouth shall declare your praise. Eternal God, open up my lips, that my mouth shall declare your praise.
Continue together. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, v'Koneh Hakol, v'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם, ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מזריח השמש ומוריד הטל.
Mahakel Chaim Bechesed Machaye Metim Berachamim רבים, סומך נופלים, רופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח, ישוע.
ונאמן אתה להחיות מתים, ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי המתים.
Days pass and the years vanish, and we walk sightless among miracles. God, fill our eyes with seeing and our minds with knowing. Let there be moments when your presence, like lightning, illumine the darkness in which we walk. Help us to see wherever we gaze that the bush burns unconsumed. And we, clay touched by God, will reach out for holiness and exclaim in wonder, how filled with awe is this place, and we did not know it. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Utsei Adonai Eloheinu ba'amacha Yisrael, utefilatam b'ahavat kaber, utehi ratzon tamid avodat Yisrael amecha. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otecha levadecha, b'yira na'avot.
God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth, which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha, ulecha na'er lehodot.
Shalom
Rav al Yisrael amcha, tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha, tasim leolam.
I can see everybody singing at home, so I think we should sing that again because it's
Absolutely.
amazing the harmonies we're creating. Shalom
Rav al Yisrael amcha, tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha, tasim leolam. Ki ata hu melech adon, lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech adon, lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha, tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha, tasim leolam. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל, בעת עת ובכל שעה.
Adonai. Oseh Hashalom.
Let us take a few moments of silent prayer to reflect on the beauty of this evening. I know in Johannesburg it's freezing cold apparently. Here it's just the start of summer really. But the beauty of being able to be together between England, South Africa, Ireland, Australia, Italy, we're almost all around the world. How wonderful it is that we can be together on this Shabbat.
Say shalom b'roma, hoya say shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'al kol bnei Adam.
Occasionally we get caught out in the new liturgy for us new liturgy, for South Africa not new liturgy, because most of it is very similar, but there are a few small differences, and how wonderful it is to share this diversity with each other. Before we move to our concluding prayers, it's really our privilege to be able to invite Hilton Ellis, who is a member of this congregation, but also calls Temple Israel of Hillbrow his home, to just share a short Dvar Torah with us this evening.
What a year this has been so far. Pesach was like no other. Our Siddurim certainly gave new meaning to the first of the four questions. Manishtana halayla hazeh. Why is this night different from all other nights? For the first time, many people had to have their Seder on their own or just with those in their immediate household, as opposed to the usual big family or congregational celebration. Some non-Orthodox communities around the world have been streaming services for a few years to enable congregants who can't physically get to the service to be able to still participate in the service. But this pandemic has forced communities that were streaming services to see how they can improve on how they do things, and communities that weren't using the available technology to try to embrace it and to help to serve the needs of their communities. I remember when growing up at Temple Israel, there were 4 and then for a short time 5 autonomous Reform congregations in Johannesburg that were all part of the United Progressive Jewish Congregation of Johannesburg. There were occasions when we would join together for a service, like we did one Shabbat Eve during the Yom Kippur War in 1973, or perhaps for a Tikkun El Shavuot, the traditional evening study session on Shavuot, or as we did on Shabbat morning, the 6th of August 1983, to celebrate Temple Israel's 50th anniversary, only for a bomb to go off outside one of the temple's doors a few hours before the service was due to commence. Undeterred, that service was quickly moved down the road to Temple Emmanuel. The story of the bomb and its damage, etc., can be left for another time. But tonight, Temple Israel is linking up with Northwood and Pinner Liberal Synagogue in England for this Kabbalat Shabbat service. A couple of weeks ago, for Erev Shavuot, Northwood linked up with communities in Israel for Tikkun Leil Shavuot. While we linked with congregations in Israel, speakers of sessions were in Israel, England, America, and even Argentina, while participants came from those countries and also from South Africa. I note too that the streaming of services from Northwood every Shabbat attracts an international online congregation with people logging in regularly from Canada, America, Israel, Europe, and South Africa. Perhaps this new reality also sheds a new light on the term Klal Yisrael, which is a term often implying the whole Jewish community, referring to all Jews regardless of religious affiliation, or for that matter, their geographical location. Perhaps this new reality can also shed a new interpretation on the Talmudic phrase, Kol Yisrael arevim zeh bazeh, all Israel are responsible one for the other, which in Jewish law forms the basis of the idea of communal responsibility. I think this new reality can, and I am sure will, open up new ideas and possibilities of how we can express and practice our Judaism in the light of the new normal, having to observe and form social distancing. And while this new reality certainly at the moment means we can't meet together as communities in our synagogues and have been forced to join online, and I think this is something we're going to have to embrace for some time to come, I am drawn to some words by the American Reform Rabbi Lawrence Kushner, which are in the prayer book used by Temple Israel, the American Reform Siddur Mishkan Tefillah, on page 145, where it reads, "Entrance to holiness are everywhere. The possibility of ascent is all the time, even at unlikely times and through unlikely places. There is no place on earth without the presence." To me, the short four-line passage expresses a great deal. Firstly, it tells us, as the Torah does in Deuteronomy and in the section we read on Yom Kippur morning, that all things that are sacred are not remote from us. They are not far away from us or above us or out of our reach, but rather they are around us. It tells us that our daily lives are full of potential for joy all the time. Most importantly, it tells us that we can find holiness whenever and wherever we take the time to pay attention to its presence and its beauty, or even the presence of the Almighty, which is around us all the time. There is, my friends, a lot for us to explore with this new technology, which means we can look further afield and join other communities and groups who would never have been able to or imagined it would be possible to. May the Almighty give us the courage, the strength, and the insight to open our minds and explore the opportunities that are opening to us, that we can make the Judaism we practice more meaningful and more enjoyable to us. May this be God's will, and let us say, Amen.
Amen. How wonderful it is. Thank you so much, Hilton, for sharing those important words. And how wonderful it is that we do, in fact, in our community, have someone who shares that link of these two congregations. It always amazes me that the world seems to be a much smaller place than we perceive it. There are so many of you who are joining us, and we are aware that you may be remembering people for Yardside. So just so that we can make sure that we don't miss any of your Yardsides, if you think we might not have those Yardsides, if you would put it in the chat so that we can say those names out loud, or at the very least so that everyone on the Zoom and on all other social media will be able to see the names of those whom you're remembering. But before we get to Kaddish, we'll turn to Aleinu, our concluding prayers.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה על יוצא בראשית, שהוא שם חלקנו יחד את שמו, וגור עלינו להמליך מלכותו. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך
gain wisdom in our lives. Like a river with understanding, loved each of us for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand but to conquer fear and doubt and despair. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace.
V'nehema v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo
Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. And on this Shabbat, Ben from Italy is thinking of Leah Fornari, and Joe Wolfson is thinking of the yahrzeit of Richard Robinson. And in our community, we recall the yahrzeit of Adolf Kohn, the father of Elkin, Bob Rabin, the father of Sandra Lawson, Gerald Edelman, the father of David and Keith, Jerry Fraser, the husband of Irene and father of Russell and Nikki, Jack Slifkin, the father of Larry, Judith Kramer, the mother of Charlie, Laurie, and Jenny, and sister of John, Oliver Paul Kent, the father of Gilda Goldstein, Philip Isaacs, the father of Janet Armitage, Robert Mühlstein, the father of Jan, my grandfather, Roger Kanter, father of Annie Woodcock, and we regret to announce the recent deaths of Leah Forstner, the aunt of Peter Lawson and aunt-in-law of Sandra.
Zecher tzadikim livracha. May all that was dear and good in their lives endure always as a blessing and as a continual influence for good. As we say together,
Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divrach yotei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, b'agala u'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitmaseh. V'yitada v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudeshav v'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechemata. Damiran balma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. V'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imrumav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. V'imru amen.
May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all Israel, to all humanity, and to all those who mourn. And let us say,
Amen. Not sure if there are any announcements, Riva, that you would like to make for the congregation in
Yes.
the Temple Israel. So I think
Thank
we're going
you.
to just hand to you for quick announcements before our concluding song.
Leah, please forgive me. I did WhatsApp you, but obviously we sort of crossed each other, even though it is after. May I also mention, especially for those South Africans who are with us, that we are remembering tonight also the yahrzeit of May Stolzen, David Favel, and Denise Werwin. Forgive me for not putting it on chat. And then I'd like to say that it's really something extraordinary to have Hilton Ellis with us tonight. I did not attend Temple Israel Hillbrow as a youngster. I grew up modern Orthodox. And in 1994, I joined the progressive movement, particularly because I loved this magnificent synagogue in Hillbrow and wanted to help save it. Hilton, it is like a full circle that Hashem has created. From your early days at Temple Israel, experiencing that early history, to being with us today. Many of our people from Temple Israel and the other shuls in South Africa are with us, and joining up today, especially with my very close connection with Rabbi Leah, and I trust now Rabbi Aaron. It was just something absolutely unique and beautiful. And it just shows how the circle of Jewish life is really infinite. The announcement we'd like to make is that on this Monday night, we have the pleasure and honor of having Rabbi Michael Marmer, who, as you know, is the head of the HUC, who has co-authored a book with Rabbi David Ellenson on Jewish, American Jewish thought since 1934 and its impact on the world today. And we will be doing that as a Zoom on Monday evening. With your permission, we will put that on all the links so that those of you who are interested could join us. And back to you, Rabbi Leah and Rabbi Aaron. I think this was really one of the most beautiful services I've had the privilege of attending. And it is just so wonderful to have this intimate connection. And I want to just thank Italy. I want to thank Australia. I want to thank everyone who's with us on Zoom. Too many names to mention, but I know each and every one of you. I've looked at the names, and also on Facebook and elsewhere. And Baruch Hashem, Rabbi Leah and Rabbi Aaron, this will be the beginning of many magnificent Jewish adventures for our shuls together going forth.
Thank you, Riva. That's really wonderful. I think we will definitely share with our community the link to the event with Rabbi Michael Marmor. Our community knows him well as well, of course, because he's from London originally. And he was here not so long ago, just before while we were still allowed to travel, just before the pandemic. He was here and gave the sermon on a Friday night. So I think we're going to just conclude with Yom Zeli Yisrael, and then there'll be a chance during Kiddush for all of us to chat together and share a little bit how you might all know each other, because it's really wonderful to see already Hilton reconnecting with different people from his home congregation initially. So Yom Zeli Yisrael.
Yom Zel Yisrael, Ora v'simcha, Ora v'simcha, Shabbat menucha. Yom Zel Yisrael, Ora v'simcha, Shabbat, Shabbat menucha. Shabbat, Shabbat menucha. Tzivita pikudim b'ma'at Sinai, Shabbat u'moadim lishmo b'Hoshanai, la'aroch lefanai ma'aseh arucha, Shabbat, Shabbat menucha. Shabbat, Shabbat menucha. Yom Zel Yisrael, Ora v'simcha, Ora v'simcha, Shabbat menucha. Yom Zel Yisrael, Ora v'simcha, Shabbat, Shabbat menucha. Shabbat, Shabbat menucha. Kidashta berachta oto mikol yamim, v'sheshet gilita melechet olamim. Bo matzu agumim hashketu v'tcha, Shabbat, Shabbat menucha. Shabbat, Shabbat Menucha. Hayom Zeh Yisrael, Ora v'Simcha. Ora v'Simcha, Shabbat Menucha. Hayom Zeh Yisrael, Ora v'Simcha. Shabbat, Shabbat Menucha, Menucha. Shabbat, Shabbat Menucha.